Well, welcome back, everybody. We are from the Vine, and we have a special guest here today, Dan Forsyth. Hi, Dan.
Hey, man.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You digging the space?
I love the space. It's incredible. It's been a long time since I've been in a proper studio, but definitely never a studio like this. So
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming. I'm going to talk about you a little bit.
great.
All right. So Dan Forsyth is one of the founding members of Driftwood, the band. Driftwood has become a staple to the New York music scene and beyond, appearing at major festivals across the country. There's a lot to explore, not only with Driftwood, but with Dan's upcoming solo project and his passion for songwriting. So let's get into it. Welcome to the show again. And we're going to ask you some questions. You know,
Awesome.
We're just going to get right to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
So when did you start writing songs?
Probably 16, 17, something like that. I just kind of fiddled with the guitar for a while, and then it started to come together. And I just, kind of messing around, trying to write tunes, and then got into a band in high school with Joe Kohler, one of the other members of Driftwood, and we got a gig. We got this gig at like some crazy spot downtown Binghamton, and we needed a certain amount of material, and we had aspired to write our own tunes, and that's when I started finishing them. I was just kind of fooling around and writing stuff, but then I was like, oh man, I gotta write some tunes here. So
when it says you're one of the founding members, it's no joke. You were there with Joe.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah. We that was a totally different band back then, but yeah.
Wow. So what were some of the venues? Do you remember in Binghamton?
There was tons of them. So with Driftwood, one of the first venues that we played or tried to get a gig was the Cyber Cafe.
Oh gosh,
Cyber Cafe West.
Classic.
Yeah, but we would do like, we did Fitzy's a ton.
These are all like Binghamton joints back in the day.
Yeah, that's like more like a dive spot. I don't.
Fitzy's was a dive.
It was a super.
It was
dive.
right up there with Shenanigans.
Yeah. There was lots of shenanigans going on in both those places.
Yeah, I'd say.
But yeah, we did every like little dive bar, Sidelines, Johnson City. You name it. We did all the little dive spots that would pay you a couple $100 to hang out in the corner for 4 hours.
Well, they were paying you, so that's good.
Yeah. Most of the time. Yeah.
So you got a gig. How did that happen? Do you know the story? Do you remember your first approach?
Yeah. Well, that band, the band was called the D Side. We were like a high school band, and I knew this dude through a family member who bought this nightclub and ran this place downtown, and he was just a nice guy, and he knew that we had been practicing a little bit.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey, you guys want a gig?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Let me talk to the guys." I had just joined up with this band, and they were like, "Sure, let's do it." And that was the first, and then
how did it go?
Chasing them down. It was okay. It was more like a dance club vibe, but like kids from high school showed up. So it was kind of a weird mix. Everybody went home. Nobody got hurt, which was cool.
That's always good.
For downtown Binghamton.
Yeah, Binghamton, that doesn't always, there's no guarantees in Binghamton.
Yeah.
Especially at the Belmar.
Oh, yeah.
So that place is still around, I hear, right?
It is.
The Belmar?
It's actually, they're doing an A-list movie they're shooting out of there.
Oh, shit.
In the next year or two. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a perfect spot.
There you go.
Yeah.
The vibe is just, it's like you're hanging out in a coffin.
It does feel
it's really crazy.
a little vampiric in there.
Yeah.
You know.
Dan, what is it that like drew you to songwriting? What was it that, I'm sure there may be a bunch of different things, but like maybe something that was like pushing you towards that. Like what was that thing?
Yeah. It's tough to remember like specific stuff like that, but I think really I had always loved tunes in the way of like I loved the Beatles when I was younger. When we first started in that band, we were all Beatles fans. But I just loved the tunes. I loved the way that they were, the early stuff too, the real cheesy stuff. I just loved the way they put songs together. And then I loved Dylan early on too.
Okay.
I always loved Bob Dylan. And some other stuff like that was really, I had loved that stuff and always sang along in a certain way. But then a couple of people I knew I was hanging out, was 16, going to parties and stuff like that.
Okay.
And a couple of people I knew were playing as well
Mm.
and singing. And then I remember just being like, oh, this is cool. You know, I'm like, want to do the same thing. And then there was a couple of people that wrote their own tunes.
Okay.
I was like, wow, you can do this. Like this
Yeah,
is
like
you're allowed
to do that.
Yeah, because it was like
Yeah.
no open mics. You know, it wasn't like a, you know, Binghamton was just like classic rock
Oh, totally.
101. That's
The Whale.
Yeah, you live
WAAL.
Yeah, we came up in this classic rock environment where
Yeah.
there was a classic rock cover band, and if you didn't play that stuff, you didn't play when we were first starting.
Mhm.
But there was a lot of folks that I knew. Joe was one of them. Was trying to write tunes and stuff like that. So there was like all of a sudden a little bit of like, oh, we can do this.
We can do
write
this.
songs. Yeah.
So when was the first time you played one of these original songs in a place like that, and it just kind of took?
And we're like
No.
digging back, man, into your past. We're like, give us something.
Where you were
Give
like,
us all
oh,
the
we
stuff.
did this thing, and people are actually responding. And
Yeah, I think it was probably like a party or something like that. You know,
Okay.
some crazy party out in the field that
Yeah.
got busted by the cops or something. Like that's where we used to, really play in the beginning. Was like
right.
we throw a keg party and
Nice.
we'd be the band. So,
Yeah.
it was like, and maybe somebody's like, hey, that was pretty cool, that thing,
That you
but,
did.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That setting, it's so funny. It reminds me of a field party that I had back in the day, the high school thing where like there wasn't music there, but it's tangent here, but like people were out in the field. It must have been midnight or 1 a.m. and everyone's just running around like, smoking cigarettes. I had no idea what was going on. I was a bit naive. I was like, why are all these kids out here late at night? Like,
Yeah.
I was like 17, but I was like, I didn't get it,
Yeah.
that they're partying, they're like rebelling. And I was like, it's just a funny moment.
Well, that's
that those
basically
things go
Binghamton
on.
in a nutshell.
Just lots
And
of field
adolescence.
parties.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a crazy town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was very
A lot of alcohol there.
Yeah, lots of boozing. But there was a great music. I mean, even though it was very classic rock centric, there was a lot of great music happening. And it was just tough to like, do anything else but that. It was the only thing. But
So back to songwriting. Does it just come to you? Are you just like driving around? Are you mowing the lawn?
like
Are you
currently,
in the shower?
yeah.
You know?
Actually, yeah, I love all of that stuff
Okay.
for writing. I'm more of a. I used to be a sit down and jingle on the guitar.
I'm going to do this. kind of thing.
Well, I always do that, but
Mhm.
usually after I have an idea. So a lot of the time it'll be like driving or I'm in the shower
Mhm.
or who knows. But it's never usually when I'm playing, when I'm thinking up the idea for the tune. It's usually like I get like spirit of the song or something like
I
that.
like that.
First, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
how in that spirit. Are you a songwriter?
Unfortunately, no. That's the thing that's so intriguing to me
John's
about
fascinated
songwriters.
by
I am.
I was like, he's definitely a songwriter.
I'm not. I am inspired by them,
Okay.
and I produce. I have inspiration from songs.
Yeah.
Then I have crazy ideas. Then I'm set free.
Right. But so that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And
okay.
the word inspiration comes from the idea or enthusiasm, enthused or theo or spirit inside. This thing comes, it forms an idea.
Yeah.
And from that, the manifestation of these things happen. And so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, and it's cool that there's different ways that people see that and whatever they're doing with music or art or whatever. But,
Yeah. It's like diving into a river a little bit. And like I'm talking about at least my inspirational moments. I'm caught up in it. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, you're like, holy crap, what did we just do? This is awesome.
Yeah, it's great to dive down. And at first I remember being like, why am I doing this? Like, this is silly. I'm like,
Feels weird.
I'm going a little crazy here. Like, chasing after this thing for the last 4 hours and like not doing anything else. But then after a while, you're like, no, that's what you're searching for.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I just,
Cool.
It's a lot of just,
Careful with the tape.
oh, geez.
It's all right.
Yeah, I do it too. I do it too.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Well,
man.
you ever heard the term mystics? A mystic.
Yeah.
I used to read a lot of books. I still do, but I read a lot about mystics,
Mhm.
and just who these people were. and they were just kind of communing or just one with something in the spirit realm kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like songwriters are kind of that kind of person, you know? It kind of freaked me out a little bit because, you know, you'll work with them and it's like, we kind of laugh about it. You know, you play with these songwriters and you're like, yeah, we got this down. And they're like, oh, I got a new song. I'm like, oh my God, we just figured this last song. And it's like, we got this thing down, like, and you're moving into this new thing and it's like waves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so how far apart are those waves for you of new songs?
Or it might just be a continuous wave. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's turning into that
Yeah.
more now because I have kids and I'm busy in other ways. You know, we're on the road, and it becomes this for me the cyclical thing that has like almost taken a different, like a larger shape, and
Okay.
yeah. So I mean, and I've learned that you know, with anything you don't want to force it. But at the same time, you have to sit down and do it, you know? So like, you know, waiting around for something, you know, or just being like, well, I haven't been inspired lately. It's just like not.
So you do have to kind of work at it a little.
Yeah.
You do have to work
I'm just
at
so I'm just used to moving in that
the
direction.
discipline.
Yeah. Just like I don't feel right if I don't do it for a week or two, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's the same way with practicing. If I'm not practicing drums for like 4 days in a row and I'm like, why do I feel weird?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I haven't been
out of
playing
it.
the drums.
I'm not in it.
Yeah.
So one last kind of question in that direction. I've heard people describe songwriting, and maybe you can agree or disagree, that it's more like you're finding the song than you are making the song. It's like a discovery process of something that's already kind of there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like the spirit of the song thing that I'm.
And you're trying
I think about
to
it.
exemplify it the best way you can through the medium of your guitar, your voice.
Yeah. And this idea that you control it, or, you know, that you make this thing is just like silly, you know?
And you
like,
do put your originality to that kind of thing because it's you know, so there's a big part of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, everybody kind of like the way you soak up whatever, you know, is within your realm of taste, musical taste and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
That makes a difference.
you know, yeah, where you're at in your life, I think is like all of that stuff.
Like snapshots, kind of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. As far as, you know, I think a lot of it is taste in that way, but then sometimes like things, you know what I do a lot. This is one thing that I have done like with a couple Driftwood tunes, and I do it like on a weekly basis. I like have I'm in and out of sleep in the morning, especially a lot. And I have
I've
a
heard
lot
of
of
this.
lucid stuff, and I dream songs a lot.
I have had that happen to me, but I can never quite get that down.
Yeah.
But when it's happening, you think it's way better than it is when you're like 2 hours later
You have
after
to
your second cup of
transfer it.
coffee, it's like, oh, that was just not really that great, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've done that so much. And it's like, it's this weird thing. I keep joking around with my wife about it. I'm like, it's just weird that I do this, but it's always it's never like, oh, the song just pops up on, it's like a situational thing. Like this tune that we had on this album, Rock and Roll Heart, called The Working Mom's Anthem, was like, I was just walking down this road and there was a boom box on this dirt road, and I was like talking and hanging with a couple of people, and the boom box was playing a Ben Folds song.
Okay.
And I was listening to Ben Folds at the time, and I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. I was really getting into his stuff. And it was just playing, and I just like didn't even think about it, but I woke up right then and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't even think for 1 minute that it wasn't a real song. And then I was like, oh, and then I was like, wait a minute, that was just a song that I dreamt.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and I just like remembered the chorus and like the idea of the tune in general.
That's
and
so
then,
cool.
And then sang it into my phone, and the phone is like a big part of that, because like you can just roll over. And before it was like you had to start up your tape machine, and you know.
I do that with my phone. Just musical ideas, but never full songs.
Yeah, it's a way to. We've talked about this on some other shows. Setting up systems for yourself so that you can be productive.
Right.
I think that's something really important to just consider. Like, what systems do you have in place? So if it's like, I know I'm going to my phone and I can just hit the voice memo button. Not a lot of steps, and it's efficient, and like that's one of your systems for making sure you get ideas down.
Keep
Great.
Yeah, remove the barriers.
Yeah.
Because it is fragile, right? It's like when you have that moment, that lucid moment.
Yeah.
It's not too long before it leaves.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it enters like,
Yeah.
do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want this idea?
The only thing is, it's like I'm kind of scared to see, like, if I ever am without it, like, I'm not gonna remember how to write a song. Like, I remember
So
doing
you have a
that.
fear of that.
Yeah, because I remember like back, way back when I first started writing, I remember like you didn't have anything to record on, and I just like remembered the tune.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
on Friday night at the party, hanging out by the fire, I was like, oh yeah, I got, we're passing around the guitar. I remembered it, and like now I don't know if I could do that. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, thanks Google.
Yeah.
Thanks, Google.
Thanks smartphones. You made us stupid. Damn. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think Sam has a question for you.
Yeah, I could ask another question. But I did
I
want
feel
to
very satisfied at the answers. That
That's
Dan
great.
gave me. Yeah.
I did want to get into the local event at Hopshire that you've been doing,
Nice.
or if it's still going on.
Yeah,
right?
tomorrow it's happening.
Oh, well, that's good timing.
Yeah.
Tell us about this Songwriters Night.
It's just kind of like a songwriters open mic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just set up a couple speakers, and they have a beautiful room, and everybody's super quiet, so it's very easy to get tunes across. And yeah, it's been awesome because I feel like there's so many people that are songwriters locally that would never play out at a bar, or you would never see them anywhere else. But they're, there's some great writers around. It's been cool to see them.
I gotta say, I've watched a few of these.
Yeah.
Because I spent a little time at the Hopshire. Probably a little too much time.
Oh yeah.
And Dan just facilitates this really safe place for people that and I would say a lot of times I met songwriters that are pretty great. They're not always the best musically, or they might not have the voice that you'd think they should have, but they write great songs.
Right.
I think a lot of songs have been written that way, and people don't realize that these hidden treasures are out there. And Dan kind of facilitates this space, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's Randy, and
he loves
Diane.
it.
Yeah, he loves it. Really, really, what it comes down to is John inspired it because I had talked to Randy about it.
Oh, really?
And then and we were just like, hey,
I do remember that conversation.
Let's do something sometime. And I was like, you ever think about like a songwriter night? And he's like, And then he told John about it.
Yeah.
And then John was like, hey, you were talking about a songwriter night.
Yeah.
I was like, you're right. And then it happened.
I told you, I thought it would be awesome if you did it.
Yeah.
I remember we were on our second beer, and I do recall that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's another example of just, building up the music scene here in Ithaca. Like all of these, there's a lot going on, but like John and I talk about, like Ithaca's kind of the next Nashville. It's just, it could be. It could be.
Yeah.
It may be in the next 5 to 10 years, but like there's a healthy scene and a lot of talent here. And like these kinds of events, this is the kind of thing that adds a lot to the community. So it's cool that you're doing that.
Right. And
Totally.
I feel that in the most positive way possible, it could be another music scene that arrives, kind of like the ones we've talked about on the show many times. The people that make that happen are people like this that a lot of people don't know about. And that encouragement and those spaces, I think, are what propagate the courage for people to step into that, because I think it takes courage to do that. It's not easy to put the most vulnerable place in your heart in front of people while they're watching you drinking beer. It's like, especially when they don't have a band around them or anything. And it's very courageous.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's awesome to see and share that with other folks. But what blows my mind is the ones that have been there, especially a few times. They know this, like when you mess up a tune that you just wrote like a couple days before or whatever. You're like, oh man, I'm just gonna try it anyway. And you stop, and you're like, all right, I'm just gonna start that over. Everybody laughs, and then they completely understand, and you don't feel.
It's true.
It's funny. We have this thing going where it's like, there's not pressure.
Right.
From all the songwriters. If other people show up and you're like, oh, geez, like there's more people I don't know here.
Right.
But it's cool because it's like there's a lot of peers there, and they know that they mess up all the time, and they're not there to judge.
So they formed a community, and there's some safety in that.
Support. There's support.
That's cool.
So really the coolest thing about open mics and songwriter nights and stuff like that, I think, is like what you said, is it gets this collective sort of courage thing going on, and this fun with art that like we saw when Driftwood was going down to New York, we did a couple open mics down there, like some of the famous ones.
Yeah.
When we were first trying to get our foot in down there.
Mm-hmm.
We did like the ABC Cafe.
I remember that spot.
Yeah.
I do remember that spot.
It was so cool. You pick out of a hat and
Mm-hmm.
you could play at maybe 9 o'clock. I think it's a Sunday night, or you might play at like 3 a.m. We played at like 2:30 one time. But
Wow.
yeah. And it was just the coolest vibe. There was magicians. There was like little kids, like they were dancing. And it was it was just so fun. But to see something like that happening and like, wow, it's such a really, really rich way to like have a artistic community, like have an outlet, you know, and just know that the people around here, I think, are like, you know, super talented. Like you said, there's a lot of folks that are just amazing.
Yeah, it's the most comfortable town I've ever been in artistically. I lived around the state a lot. Grew up in Binghamton, Vestal area, but never really felt free enough to become what I think I'm becoming. So I think it's really cool.
It's the hero's journey.
It is the hero's journey. We talk about that a lot. Yeah, we're all on that hero's journey as musicians and artists.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But we should get to the first. We should get to the first two.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we should do it. So we'll add this in after. But do you have any idea what song that you would want to play for us of like of the two?
Oh, like just one?
No, we'll do two, but like we'll have it.
We're gonna put it.
We'll
through
put
the show.
one here, and then we'll put one later.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
So tell us what this first song would be.
Okay. Yeah, this one is called Switch. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, enjoy Switch, and we'll be back.
Tell me, are you still sore in the middle? Tell me, can you still have a good time? You know I've been living alright. I guess I've been doing fine. Are you having all those feelings you wanted to? Running that body down just to walk in those shoes. You know I've been living by my means, just taking my time. But I guess that it's just my type of a man now, my type of a man. I watch the waves, I watch the bubbles as the water it fills up the tub, and I just listen to that nothing, all of that nothing in my mind. But I guess that it's just my type of a man now, my type of a man. And I don't know what to tell you, I don't know what you want, and I have no problem with just moving on. And that world is so far away, nobody's ever gonna be the same. You better find your switch and just turn it off. Yeah, you better just turn it off. Those wheels forever spinning, those wheels, they're gonna drag you down. What if all of your pondering was just one big waste of time. Well, I guess that is just my type of mind now, my type of a mind. I guess that is just my type of a mind, my type of a mind. I guess that is just my type of mind, my type of mind, my type of a mind. Thanks, guys.
All right, and that was Switch by Dan Forsyth, upcoming solo project. We're going to dive into this segment we like to call New Vine Reacts.
All right.
All right, let's do it. Let's just jump right in. So I'm going to read something. We're going to react to it.
Cool.
That's it. Celebrities. Oh, this is USA Today. Celebrities play video games too. It's true. Sometimes they're just like real people.
Really?
Last month, Doja Cat tweeted about how she was playing one of the world's most popular games, Final Fantasy. Oh, please forgive me. It's Roman numerals. I'm pretty sure it's 14, right?
Wow. Good job.
Okay.
It's been around.
Yeah.
It's the latest expansion, Endwalker, which has just been released, and Doja Cat is clearly getting in on the hype with everyone else. So that was a headline from USA Today showing that
So important.
Doja Cat, a celebrity, is really into this Final Fantasy game. Reactions. What do you think? Yeah.
Who is
good for her.
Doja Cat?
Yeah, she's like,
You know Doja.
she's like I've heard like maybe a couple of songs I think on the radio.
Okay.
But I'm not totally sure.
She's a hip hop.
It's like rap.
Oh.
It's like rap.
Yeah,
stuff.
rap,
Okay.
hip hop,
Yeah.
pop.
Forgive us out there if you love Doja Cat.
People are like, how do you not know who Doja Cat is? Hey, some people
I'm
don't
never
know.
listening
All
to
right,
this
get over it.
podcast again.
Yeah, Doja, I think she was a part of that WAP song. I'm pretty sure.
WAP?
The WAP song. I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's...
Well,
it's,
here's the other thing. It's news because she tweeted it. That's my other reaction.
She did tweet it.
And therefore it's news. So these news agencies are just like, they're not using the AP anymore. They're going to celebrity sites and pulling off tweets.
Yeah.
And that's news.
Mm.
Sounds a little too
but
easy
like,
to me.
it's all about what gets. Is this something that you saw in like a news app or something like that?
This
on the
was
phone?
something I saw. So I Googled like video game news.
Yeah.
Because I thought
okay.
video games. I was just playing one last night actually called The Quarry, which was really amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's scary. Like you're watching a movie.
Okay.
Like
Sweet.
I forgot it was a game. It's really scary.
Wow.
Anywho, but so I was searching for video game news, and this came up on USA Today as one of the headlines.
Yeah.
So
Well, the other interesting thing about this is this expansion idea in video games. So if anybody who plays video games knows that they're not just a game that you buy anymore. You buy them, and then you have this internal shopping thing that you do.
Right.
And you buy the expansion, you buy items, you buy all sorts of stuff. And that's the other thing I noticed. It's just such a big deal now.
it's $1 billion industry
Yeah,
now.
it's way bigger.
And
than
Dan
it
and I,
was.
we've talked about video games, quite a few times
Yeah,
in
dude.
our.
Are you a gamer?
No, but my kids are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you have to keep up on it.
I'm becoming a sort of a gamer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like to me it's crazy because like you said, it's like a huge industry happening, and like sort of what it's a little negative, but my take on that was like,
So it can be a little
maybe
negative. It's
Final
okay.
Fantasy 14, like maybe they like struck a deal.
That's
with
that's
her
where I was
publicist.
thinking.
And they were like, hey, we're going to pay you this amount of money if you tweet. This is like a whole new realm
new
of
economy.
publicity.
Yeah.
But like, coming from that, like, because with Driftwood, we've hired a lot of publicists and radio people and whatever, and it's not cut and dry anymore.
I think that's why you answered the question why we're learning about Doja Cat in Final Fantasy 14. Because it's a money deal.
Yeah.
Could
it
be.
seems,
Could be.
It seems
Yeah.
that way. It doesn't.
Yeah.
May not. Who
Definitely.
knows? Maybe she loves the game.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
I mean, I'll love the game
I
if
don't
they
think-
send me a check for $14,000.
I
I
doubt
love the
she's-
game for you. Please
Yeah.
give me
A
money.
lifetime supply of Xbox Ones or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a good. Yeah, it's a good point to bring up.
I'm so behind.
My my cousin out in Colorado, she's really into like this whole, not conspiracy theories, but like that there are certain bigger things happening, that like a bunch of events are set in motion by some entity. And essentially they hope that it will lead to some sort of event. So for example,
so it's like indirectly instigating.
Yeah. Indirectly instigating. So for instance, the Will Smith thing, where that whole slap that happened.
Okay.
So my cousin, she was explaining that like there are things happening. Things get set in motion over the course of like a year or 2 years or just months, like depending on the scope. And
to kind of whip it up.
It'll ultimately lead to something. And so people may have known Will Smith and Chris Rock. Maybe there was some history there. Maybe there were some things with his wife that came out in the news like 3 months ago.
This is
so
like
they sort of try to make things happen like that. And
so it's like proto-algorithmic.
Kind of.
It's like
now it's a theory.
They put info in and they're like, this could happen. There's a 92% chance that this will happen. You know what's funny? Not to digress too much from this, but
we'll bring it back soon.
The 23andMe stuff.
What was that?
It's finding out what your background, your ethnicity. Okay, so all these people are doing this, and the company owner is selling the data to China, and China's taking the data and will know if you'll have cancer at a 60% rate, or they'll know if you're going to have some type of genetic disease based on your genetic ethnicity.
Whoa.
Wow.
And so that's
That
kind of
scary.
like a proto-algorithmic thing. So this isn't a concept that isn't, it is part of this world.
Oh, man.
So in the media,
Crazy.
What a reaction. Look where we are now. Holy
man,
shit.
we got good. You're a little weak on the front end. That's my fault. But this is a really good way to look at that. I didn't think of that. And if you really look at the way it's written, it kind of looks like some dude wrote that.
Yeah.
That's
That's funny.
cool.
Yeah,
So-
it's interesting, man. News, there's no shortage of shit to read or,
No.
watch or whatever. There's just so much,
So here's another thing that we can react to, and this was something I had read earlier, and it involves songwriting related. Beyonce has a new thing out called Renaissance. I believe it's called Renaissance, and so she is changing one of her song lyrics.
Oh, you were telling me about this.
Due to the word that she used in the song lyric being what is it?
Spaz.
Well, that was the word, but they called it ableist. Thank you, Dave. It was called it was an ableist thing, so it had to do with being offensive.
Describe ableist.
Well, I think it's like being offensive to people that are disabled. So the word spaz, which was one of Beyonce's lyrics, was considered to be offensive to some groups, and so she's changing the lyric. And we had been talking about sort of censorship in songwriting. I'm curious to get your take on that. How do you feel about the whole freedom of speech versus censorship in songwriting specifically?
Right.
And it's a big question.
I mean,
know.
that's not really like a freedom of speech. It's more just like, she, recognized that people might have felt, sensitive and like decided to change it. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because at the other side, like there is some crazy shit on the radio.
Oh yeah.
Like there's some stuff where I'm like, my kids love pop music, and I'm just like, every once in a while I'm like, oh, we gotta flip
we
this
gotta
one, guys.
change this.
Yeah, because it's wild how dirty it is. You know, it's like
it's getting pretty raunchy.
Yeah, that's
some of the pop stuff you were saying even.
Yeah, I mean, there's like.
So
there's
it's okay
crazy
to have
stuff
that,
out
but
there.
not the other thing.
Yeah, it's weird that there's, just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just.
Well, the question I have is, the distribution question. So it's all digital now. It's not like you can pull it off of Spotify without losing your streams.
Right.
Did they let her do that? They got to pull it off and change it or put it back up, or it's just it's a new.
Well, I'm not even sure if
Is
it came out already
before distribution,
or if it's
or
not
okay,
out
gotcha.
yet. I'm not sure.
Well, how would they have known?
Could also be a ploy for marketing as
Hey,
well.
There you
now
go. We're back. We're back.
We're onto something.
I think I agree with that.
It could
Yeah,
It
I
could be
mean-
any of those things.
All news is
good
news.
I don't know. It is
Right,
interesting.
that seems to be the weird thing that's kind of taken over. Like even bad news is better than no news.
Because you got attention.
Right.
You're center stage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's weird.
that's pretty horrible.
And that was New Vine Reacts.
Not bad.
Not too bad.
Not
Yeah.
bad. Not bad.
Interesting stuff
job.
on the table here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna move into the next kind of series of questions, and I kind of know you a little bit this way, but how do you perceive work-life balance in music? You have family. I mean, man, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So
you
how do
know.
you manage? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
It's weird that you're asking the question. 'Cause
I am asking the
you know all
question I
too
should be
well.
asking myself. How do you manage that?
Um,
I'm going to take some notes.
yeah. Well, it's very different now since COVID. Everything slowed down a bunch.
You know how many times I've heard that?
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
And I felt like a broken record saying it, but it's true.
Yeah.
It changed everything for us. So yeah. But really what it comes down to is my wife is just awesome, and my mom and my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
They're just awesome. And we're lucky to have that. That's the only reason I'm able to do it,
Yeah.
So my wife works, at Cornell. She works a 9-month position. So she's got a lot of time around Christmas time off,
Right.
which is nice because we get busy around then.
Cool.
And then in the summertime, she's off. So right now, festival season,
Busy season.
yeah, it can be very busy. So those are a couple of things that kind of, really, really have made it possible. But it's also just like it took me a while in the beginning to get used to it. It was a little crazy.
Binghamton boys.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild because there was.
That's a good word.
Well, yeah, when we first had Finn, our oldest, it was very exciting. It was really fun, but I was so worried because I was the first one to have a kid in the band.
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, like kid is almost like a bad word in
It
full-time
is.
bands. It's
Well, that's why it's an interesting question, I think.
Yeah.
I've been told by people in the business, it's over. Especially if it's a female artist.
Yeah.
It's over if you have a kid. I think that's a terrible stigma to place on
You know what?
somebody.
I think, maybe I didn't hear that directly from someone, but I've definitely heard that before.
Yeah.
And I definitely got that feeling from some people's reactions.
Yeah.
But like, it's not true.
That's good.
It is not true. And
We have the proof.
I think it depends on what you're doing.
Sure.
It depends on, what kind of band you're in. If you have a manager that's crazy, if you have,
That happens a lot.
yeah, if it depends on where everybody else is at in the stage of their lives that you're working with. But I think in general, like a lot of Driftwood's kind of scheduling and stuff like that has been like weekend warrior stuff.
Okay.
For the most part, we've been, we used to go out for 3 weeks, probably like 4 or 5 times a year, 2 weeks or something like that.
Right.
Or maybe 3 times a year, and then always weekends. And then it just turned into like most of the time it's like Thursday through Sunday, something like that. Maybe Friday through Sunday, and then with an occasional 2 weeks. And that's just how it's been. We just, have settled into that. So,
and you guys are doing very well.
yeah, I mean, it's been, just about the same for
I
a
got to
while,
tell you,
so.
for anybody who's out there listening, this is a real encouragement, I think, because of that stigma and that thing that hangs in the air. And one of the things we really want to enforce is the encouragement of the idea that you can be a healthy person and be an artist and be successful.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of work.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It takes a lot of drinking,
On
smoking
on the
weed.
front end.
Yeah.
Like really what you got to do is just get messed up.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
It's a joke.
You ever seen the movie Walk Hard?
I didn't. I
Oh,
know,
you need to
I know
watch
the
that.
Dewey Cox
Very fun.
story. I've heard
Dewey
a lot of the
Cox,
jokes
yeah.
from a lot of musicians, but it's one of those ones that I just haven't, for
Basically,
whatever reason.
just don't do that.
Don't
Right.
do what he did.
Don't do what he did.
He was on the hero's journey for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think he was the anti-hero on that movie.
Really?
Oh,
Interesting.
well, he was, but he did not handle it well. It's basically mocking Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
You know. But so, with that being said, how did you arrive at such a decent chemistry with this band? There's a lot of pieces at play, a lot of dynamics between whether it's ego or time frames and schedules. You guys have been grinding for like 10 years.
Yeah,
You
I think just like-mindedness is the big answer,
Okay.
or a patience factor comes into it.
Yeah, I've been learning all about it, being the newest member. And
Sam is in the band.
Yes,
and
sir.
it's been cool to see like what made. I think what's been making the transition really cool is that there is such a strong unit there to begin with, and that's sort of what I think John's getting at. Is like it's not easy to find that core of. I mean, it's that core of four that's spent so much time and like kept it going and still existing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the first thing I think to trying to, when you're trying to be successful out of town, was like that was our first big step to like go somewhere else and like build a following.
In another city,
which is like crazy.
It's super hard.
Yeah, it's
super
just
hard.
Crazy. It took us a long time to just get a following in our town, and then to think, oh shit, we got to go to Ithaca and try to
start over.
And but really what it comes down to is like if you can go down the road with everyone and like sleep on floors a ton with everyone and be patient when everyone is, someone's drunk and not getting in the van and someone doesn't want to get up.
Or they fuck up on the stage because they're drunk.
Oh yeah. Or whatever, whatever's happening, whatever is taking place. If you can go down the road afterwards, that's what matters.
So a lot of forgiveness, grace, kind of working through stuff.
Yeah.
And confrontation. Is there any of that going on in your group with each other? Like dealing with issues sometimes?
Probably goes on in all the groups.
Right?
I'm sure,
to some extent.
Yeah.
There's
I mean, but
always gonna be
that's
that.
kind of a requirement a little bit. I mean, it's just, you don't want to die on every hill, but
Yeah.
You look at him, he's like, there's a whole shit.
John
just
John will just go
I
for
do.
the big,
I don't,
the big deep
I don't want to
questions.
incriminate anything, but I feel like people need to hear that. Like, it's a little bit of a weird marriage when you have
It is a
band.
marriage, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and there's
relationship,
always going to
polyamory.
be confrontation.
I mean, not like that, but I mean,
we're
like,
not
Now
Fleetwood
you
Mac or
went there,
anything.
right?
no,
Right.
I just meant like everyone is in a relationship together. That's-
Right. No, but I mean that because it's okay. So, I've been in like way too many bands,
Oh.
and it's just not a fun thing. They're kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you, but you
I've
guys,
heard so many people say bands are tough.
Yeah.
Bands are, yeah, definitely.
And I think it's good to like admit that too, that like it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies and all that. And it's like, but ultimately what comes down to when you have that mutual respect and that understanding and that, like you said, that being on the same page, that like-mindedness,
mutual goals,
that is really what it boils down to. And on all the other stuff is shit's going to happen and you move on and you figure it out. You communicate with each other as you would in any relationship that you care about. So,
Well, and putting aside even the social part of that and relational part of that, chemistry on the stage, where there's clashes, there's stylistic things happening. How long did it take before that smoothed out? Say in Driftwood,
Yeah, I don't know.
it just kind of happened, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're asking the wrong person. You know what I mean? I think maybe somebody observing would know better.
Good answer.
It's like, everybody's always growing. I think with whatever you're doing, and some people are better at some stuff than others.
Sure.
But I think when it comes down to it, like, really, I think there is a stylistic factor that we really, tried to get on top of, and that was like gelling our style together. Like, what were we? Because we had, different songwriters,
Right.
and we had
That's kind of what I'm getting at here.
yeah, we had like different things in the band that really stuck out. So like, what do we do to go to that out of town show and turn people on in a bar room where nobody's listening?
Right.
But there's a ton of people there. We got speakers. We're like, how can we get these people? And so we wound up doing a ton of fiddle music because Claire's a great violin player.
Absolutely.
She's a great performer.
Yeah.
And or we'd be like busking in New York City, and that's the tune when people would pay us money. It's like there was a cool Irish fiddle tune or something like that happening.
Nice.
So we started doing just a lot of that stuff. We started doing a lot of high energy stuff. Turning bluegrass tunes into like bluegrass rock kind of tunes in our own way, and then started writing. That was the big next step. Was like to try to write to incorporate that stuff. And that was the early part of Driftwood, and then things kind of smoothed out a little bit, and like
Good.
kind of forgot about that, or didn't make that such a priority.
Sure.
So my answer being like, I don't really know.
Well, I didn't want to pry, but I'm going to pry.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like kind of we're just talking about this so other people can understand and have a good expectation
right
for what success can look like. And it's not the same for every group, obviously, but I think those dynamics are kind of microcosmal, that they transfer to other group dynamics sociologically in a band.
Yeah, that's funny. A really good point. Yeah.
So Metallica's doing a like how to be in a band masterclass. You ever see those masterclasses?
That's awesome.
Those so they
doing
made it
like,
somehow, but
it was at first I chuckled a bit, and I'm like,
it's like they should not be teaching
Metallica's
anybody.
Teaching this. But
when you saw that, that's what you.
I did, because I've seen so many documentaries about these bozos. They're crazy.
Really? Yeah.
But maybe that's the point. Is like that they're still in existence. That they're still together.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like really, that's what it comes down to.
Marriage.
Yeah, like you said, it's so
marriage.
hard to just join a band and be like, all right, let's play a show. It's not that easy.
No.
So and so's like, I can't be there before 8, and like so and so's like, I don't want to play.
Right.
And it's like, it's wild to actually think about doing that, especially doing like something like they did.
Yeah.
In the heavy metal scene, and like
they kind of had no choice at a certain point, and they had to kind of get through it.
Right. They were probably just in debt
debt to not just the label, but also just, they're on this journey and they're having crazy success.
Mm-hmm.
On the Black Album, it's like you're forced to be with these people. It's kind of like an arranged marriage in a weird way. You can't escape it. I've heard people say, be careful what you're successful at, and then you end up in a successful situation with people you can't stand. That can happen.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on. Sure. I have another segment for us, and it's called Lyrics Without Context.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so what I've done is I've pulled some song lyrics from, there's actually this great Instagram page.
This can get hairy.
Lyrics, Genius Lyrics or something. But so this page, they take song lyrics and they just take them out of the song and just put them on a picture, usually of the artist.
It's pretty hilarious.
Song. Some of them are great. Some of them are like
on the edge.
So
don't let your kids look at it.
Yeah. So I picked ones that I felt were like, okay,
all right,
that were interesting. So Dan, if you're interested, you've got the first one. We're just reading it as if it were not even in the song. Just like any way you want to read it, go for it.
These are actual lyrics, everyone, just in case.
Yeah, these are lyrics
understand.
to songs.
Okay.
I miss you, and I love you, and I wish you was here so I could play Roblox. Moneybag Yo.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I felt moved.
I was feeling that.
I felt it.
Cool.
Jeez, Dan.
Cool.
You reaced right in there.
I love how it's Roblox, Sam. This is like
Roblox.
Well,
that's why I gave it to you. Yeah. So this one, I was surprised to see.
Oh my
that.
gosh!
I was surprised to see that Mick Jagger wrote this or sang it. I don't know if he wrote it or sang it or both, but
okay.
Shooting the vaccine, Bill Gates in my bloodstream. It's mind control. And that was Mick Jagger that wrote that, or sang it in the song.
This is
Easy Sleazy.
Must
was the
have
name
been
of the song.
Obviously recent.
It had to be recent because he's talking about that. I was kind of like, huh, all right,
wow,
interesting, very interesting.
It must have been in.
Wow.
Maybe it's a farce. Maybe it's a satire. Or I don't know.
I really want to know what the inspiration is behind this one.
It's out of context. John.
Okay. A tax is a mandatory financial charge imposed upon a taxpayer by a governmental organization. 2 Chainz.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's exactly what
it had to have some authority.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I went for it.
Nailed it.
All right.
That was Lyrics Without Context.
Yeah.
If you hate that segment, let us know. If you love that segment, let us know.
Yes, please.
And if
Either
you're
way,
indifferent, let us know.
they won't let us know.
They might.
Indifferent people don't do
We're starting to get
anything.
some emails. We're getting some
I
emails.
loved that. That was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Dan liked it.
And we're before we get to the second song, we want to do another segment that we've been bringing back for a couple shows now.
People like this one.
Yeah, and it's called Strange Candy.
Yes.
Strange Candy. Here we have some strange candy.
This is the part of the show where we invest time into exploring the strangeness of candy manufacturing. There's a lot of fucking strange candy out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
It's kind of like the music scene. It's like oversaturated.
It's true.
You know, way too much.
So, I mean, which should we? this one's kind of.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go
That
for
one
that.
caught my eye.
So this is Cinnamon Toast Crunch popcorn
With
Popcorn.
Cinedust.
with Cinedust.
Cinedust.
Yeah.
That
I
just
love that.
they put that on the
It's a
end for all the
trademark.
druggies out there.
There's a trademark on
It
the
sounds like a
Cinedust.
drug.
It does. Crazy.
And you know that after a wild night, people are eating that. So
Some of that Cinedust.
this got some Cinedust.
So who is brave enough to try some of this Cinedust?
Pour it right here, man,
Yeah.
on camera. Oh,
Dan, you wanna
dude,
try this out
this
too?
looks.
Oh,
Some of that
This is
Cinedust.
bullshit. It looks like Cracker
Look at it
Jacks.
coming out.
those look like Cracker Jacks.
This is Cracker Jacks reinvented.
All right, we're gonna eat it
Wow.
over the microphone
Okay.
for all of the people
There's a
that are into that.
subtle something there.
That's the Cinedust.
But
It is.
yeah, it's just like cinnamon on Cracker Jacks.
I mean, I could definitely eat this after smoking pot.
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
This is actually really good.
This is good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a well-known brand, so they had all their best scientists on this one.
Now they make popcorn.
No,
They did a damn fine job.
no. You know what I missed though?
Mm.
Little toy in the bottom of the box.
Oh yeah, the Cracker Jack toy.
Yeah, it does kind of taste.
Do they,
like Cracker Jack.
is that
It's
still
true.
a baseball thing?
Yeah.
They still have those?
I was always excited about getting that.
I know. They still do that
Yeah,
occasionally.
it's a little unsanitary if you think about it, but
It's true. And they're always like sticky. It's like a weird film on them.
yeah. All
Very
right.
fun. All right, so let's get to the second song.
And that was
Oh yeah, let's close the segment.
that was the part of the show where we talk about strange candy.
Strange Candy.
Strange candy. All right.
And so Dan, tell
Thanks
us
for
a bit
playing
about this song that you're going to play for us. This will be the second song.
I'm still eating this.
Yeah, go for it, man.
It's freaking great.
It's-
Yeah, dude.
I'm kind of
Enjoy.
addicted. I'm
Keep eating, man.
some damn Cinedust.
Yeah, Cinedust has got me.
Yeah, it's a Cinedust.
Yeah, just a song that I wrote for my wife. It's a lovey-dovey number.
Okay.
It's called Heart on Fire.
Heart on Fire.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. This is Heart on Fire by Dan Forsyth.
I keep walking in and you're walking out, struggling to find that thing I wanna tell you about. It's all I can do to hang around and try to stay cool, 'cause my heart is a fire for you. I like to listen to music, I like to sing along, and sometimes I listen to people talk until they're done. But when I hear your voice, it rings so true. My heart is a fire for you. My heart is a fire for you. Set me up, come and knock me down again. Flash your smile, roll your eyes and leave me spinning. Say we can go dancing to that bowling alley too. Well, you know I would go anywhere, anywhere for you. Feel a little flutter, just a little shake. Gotta pinch my skin just to know if I'm awake. But if it's a dream, I hope it won't be ending soon, 'cause my heart is a fire for you. Black clouds, they're rising over here tonight, and those oak trees are shivering from a lightning strike. But I'm walking the straight line and it's steady and true. My heart is a fire for you. My heart is a fire out in the rain and the whirling snow, up on the hill where the north winds blow. There's no coat I've been needing just to warm me through and through. 'Cause this heart is a fire for you. I never could see trouble till it knocked me down. I used to spend my days just laying on the ground. But now if I was any more upright, I'd be floating through that blue. And my heart is a fire for you. My heart is a fire for you.
And that was Heart on Fire, a tender, tender song.
Yes, it was tender.
Tender Vittles.
Yeah. All right. So this next segment, we want to focus on the local scene here in Ithaca. And so, John, why don't you start us off?
Sure. So, Dan, you've been here for a while. How long have you lived in town?
I lived in Dryden for about 10 years.
Okay, same as me.
Yeah.
We talked
nice.
about that. That's right.
Yeah.
So, what do you like about the Ithaca music community?
It's varied.
Mhm.
Very varied. Yeah, like I said, in Binghamton growing up, it was, it changed for sure.
Yeah.
Like right, when Driftwood was coming up and stuff like that, it was changing. And there's a great scene there. But yeah, Ithaca was just, a cool place to be. To be honest with you, like
Mhm.
I moved up here and became a parent. So like,
Okay.
I know like the Sunday, 6:00 bands, breweries, and that's about it.
Okay.
Some of the local bands. So I haven't really been in
It's
the
kind of your refuge out here. A little bit.
yeah, I haven't been in the music scene that much outside of just playing Driftwood shows.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do really appreciate all of the original acts in the
Mhm.
area. It's crazy. Like there's not a lot of small towns like this that have this many original bands.
No, and you were talking about it once. You were surprised when you moved up here
Mm-hmm.
how big the
Yeah.
scene is, how many
Yeah.
groups there are.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I was like, man, all of this is here. Oh,
Mhm.
that is really something.
Mhm. And a lot of great acts have come out of this scene.
Yeah,
Ex ambassadors.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Mhm.
They were like doing a festival, I think, and
Mhm.
that's I had heard about the festival before I knew that it was them putting them on, and they were from here. But
Yeah. I got Starburst in my mouth.
They're so good.
I'm
man.
like getting stuck here.
That's why they're here.
Yeah.
They're delicious. So Dan, tell us about, this is a question that I've been asking a few of our guests on the show, and we're just really curious how you would run your ideal music venue.
Mhm.
So like money's not an issue, and I know it's a complicated kind of question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces to running a music venue, but maybe
Right.
pick some like highlights, things that you would want for your music venue, things that maybe you have seen at other music venues that you feel you could improve on.
Mm.
Sort of give us maybe
Sure.
a couple things. That
Money is no
Yeah.
limit.
Yeah, and money, don't worry about the money. Just like, this is
Staffing.
your venue. You got a great
This is crazy.
line
guys.
of credit.
Materials.
Yeah.
This is wild, man.
Sound
I don't know,
systems.
man. I don't know if I can do this.
No,
Guys.
you can pass if you want.
Because like
Yeah.
the ones like the venues that you're like, oh, this fucking place, like
Yeah.
on a Wednesday night in Cleveland, like you're like,
Right,
oh
right.
my god, I can't believe we're here again, for the 15th time,
Yeah.
and then like a place shuts down like that, and you're like, I really missed that place, So like,
Interesting.
so like, there's no ideal music venue because but
So maybe
yeah,
not
I mean, I
ideal,
think really
but-
like
Mm.
ideal as opposed like ideal for the musician.
He's qualifying the question.
The musician that's
this is
coming
great.
in.
So I'll rephrase the question then. So not your ideal music venue, but how would you run a music venue with the musician in mind?
With a musician in mind.
Right.
Okay, that's a great.
There we
that's
go.
A great way. So yeah, I mean,
Do you want to write for us? 'Cause that was damn good.
Yeah,
Anyway,
hell yeah.
I have no time, guys.
I know. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, I think really the places that we love the most on the road are the places where you have a friend every time you come back, you know, and you're like, oh, hey, so and so, hey, what's going on? And it's very relaxed. You know, the vibe is super relaxed. There's great sound, a great sound technician.
That's a big deal.
Sound is big.
That's your best friend for the night. You see him, and you get a warm feeling in your tummy when you roll in the van, and he's out on the porch smoking his cig. Yeah, and you're like, "What's up, dude? It's been too long, brother." You know. But yeah, like that kind of guy running it, and some nice gear, and I mean I think just a nice warm environment. With lots of people there listening, not talking.
Right. Not blasted completely.
Yeah. But just enough to like your songs, even though they might not be that good, you know?
Right.
I don't know, man. It's a really crazy question.
It's a crazy question. Yeah.
There's so many things.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just finding that, it's something where I've caught myself doing this too, where I'll complain about a music venue or something. I'll say, oh man, like, I can't believe like they do it this way. You know? And then I realize like, well, what if I were owning a music venue? How would I do it?
Right.
Because it's pretty complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, and that's why I've been asking the question. Any artist that is sort of struggling with finding a good venue or having issues with venues, it's like, how would you do it? Write a plan, and then things can happen when you write stuff down and start your own venue. And we've had artists come on the show and say, I think it was Harry Nichols actually, who said, make your own venues. You just that
was his advice to artists.
He said, make your own venues, like set up a house concert.
That's a really cool direction to take.
Yeah. Or even Hopshare's got that family vibe to it. Like go to Hopshare and do a songwriters night, or like he was stressing that. And so, but I like thinking about it. What would you do with a music venue?
Like there's two ways to think about it, because it's like it's never going to be ideal. But like when you think about that stuff and you think like, what's the kind of place that I would like, or reflect on the night or the week that you had on the road, you might even think about like, well, maybe this dude that's running this place that's an asshole to me every time that I come, maybe he's just like not a happy guy because the place isn't very successful, or like whatever.
I've met those guys.
Yeah, but then you might become friends with him later on. And I think just stepping out for a minute and just like thinking about like that stuff is just a great exercise in general, because because it's like such a weird industry. Live touring is like, there's no rules.
There's no rules.
It's the Wild West out there.
It's crazy.
It's like, and it's like there's a lot of really awesome, sweet people, especially in folk music. We do these concert series and stuff where people are just really friendly and like treat you so well. That's most of our gigs.
It does happen, people. There are good gigs out there.
Yeah. There are,
and you got to tuck those away in your memory belt. So pull those out.
Yeah, make sure they have precedence. Over the shitty club.
There's a lot of that. I'd say more of that.
Yeah, we did a lot of that for a long time. Yeah, but
I had a vision of a music venue with a video arcade inside of it.
I remember you saying that.
We were talking about that, right?
It's a great idea.
That's sort of, have it just like one area where it's all games and stuff. And, maybe like tucked in another room so you could listen to the band, you could play some games, like making it this big complex of, I'd love to see that in Ithaca. Oh my God. Like the hangout every weekend, Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Well, I have a music nugget that I'd love you to throw out there. I'm replacing my question here because we've kind of covered what was already on the question, but what would you encourage an artist to do? We're getting toward the end here, but as far as a new band, you said going into a new city, what's the magic for, and I'm oversimplifying.
Yeah.
The magic formula for invading a new territory, because it's hard. You get your foot in a city, you're kind of doing good. People are starting to show up. You're actually getting booked by talent buyers in the city you're in, and it's time to move into that next stage. What does that look like?
Yeah, it's it's just like, it's take what you can get, and it's really it comes down to like, I think a lot of stuff in general, it's just like, you have to, you don't cold call anymore, but it used to be a lot of cold calling spots. But just shooting out emails and just trying to like get going, get something happening. So like if you know that there's this cool club where everybody plays in town that's like the scene that you think that you should be in, or a venue makes sense for you, your kind of music, and you can't get a gig there because so and so won't get back. You keep emailing, you can't call because they don't have a phone anymore or whatever. And like then you can go to like who's playing there. Like, oh, this band is playing on next Friday night. Let's see if they need an opener.
That's smart.
Yeah, let's go there. They have this open mic on Sunday. Like, let's just go and like play the open mic and like hang out, or like whatever. And then you get that gig, and then you show up and there's nobody there, and then when it comes to the point where you're like, should we
that happens
that
a
gig
lot
again?
That happens.
Book it.
Book it anyway.
Just do it.
That's
just
great advice.
Book it, and
That's
then
great advice.
yeah, and then look for the festivals around the area, or the like free concert events and stuff like that you might be able to get hooked up with. Look for the publications. I don't even know how that works anymore.
Sure.
But the people who are like putting out music in the area or talking about musicians in the area, and then just keep going back.
Okay,
that's
really great.
Just keep going.
Just being persistent.
Yeah.
So here's the dreaded question.
Oh no.
Here it is. Do you draw people? Do you have a following in this city?
Yeah.
How do you answer that to the promoter?
No. You say no.
That's right.
Because you say no, but we really would love to play there.
You just keep doing it.
Yeah, because lying will never get you anywhere.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, they'll be like, dude, I know you don't have a draw. Promoters know all.
Of course they know.
They know all that shit.
Yeah.
But like the thing is like, he's not going to say no if you're like opening up for, so-and-so that he has every other Friday night.
I think that's a great way to go.
Yeah, because they draw. Or sometimes just like befriending someone and like them like checking you out and being like, kind of dig these guys.
Kind of like the music
let's bring
themselves.
them in and like, I know what to, we've had a few of those things happen to us where we just have a cool promoter that's like, yeah, I like your sound.
That's cool.
But for the most part, it's like we just went back over and over to these spots, even after we were like, I can't take any more of this venue. We kept going. And then, like I said, and then at some point we loved it. And
wow.
But
interesting.
not always.
There's some similarities between that and comedians. And I have to like remind myself this, but for all the comedians you see that are super successful, that are just like people are laughing at all their jokes, they've had bomb shows.
Sure.
And it's like, who was I listening to? But some comedian was saying that like a bomb show is like one of the worst feelings.
Oh, it's the worst feeling.
Can't imagine.
Because you're doing your shtick and nobody's laughing and no one's like, can you imagine?
You're up there alone.
It's like a bad dream, man.
Yeah, it's
it
like
is a bad dream.
So
that's one of my worst feelings ever. I can't even watch movies with embarrassment in them.
Oh yeah.
I get up and walk out of the room.
Cringe.
Yeah.
So I see that's with
crazy.
you say you play to a club and if no one shows up, like do it again though.
Sure.
And just like get used to that feeling. And when you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, right, good things could actually start to come from that.
Formulate.
Because you're doing something.
Right. Yeah, you're doing something, and it's like it's important to keep that mindset, as like as a producer or whatever. It's like to keep that positive, like
right.
Okay, let's just do it again. Like
you got to do that.
Yeah, you just got to keep rocking, and sometimes like we never took off in like Cleveland, but we've been there like I don't know how many times, man.
Yeah.
But we just never did.
Cleveland, where artists go to die.
Oh.
There's a scene, and we got hooked up with some.
It's a rock scene.
Yeah, we did some fun stuff, and but most of the time it was like looking back, because we haven't been there in so long. But looking back at Cleveland, we were always going to like Chicago or something, and it was always like a Tuesday or Wednesday night. So that's not fair.
No.
So we never, we never really went there on a Friday. So
okay.
But yeah, there's definitely some towns where we just didn't. We didn't
happen.
Yeah, at some point.
Oh,
that's the other side. You got to cut your losses sometimes and like figure out when to say no. But
that's another big thing, like when to say no to
when
stuff.
To say no.
Yeah.
For another time, another conversation. We have to
wrap it
up. And
well, Dan, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh man, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
It's been a huge pleasure, and I think we all learned a lot. And we just want to promote Driftwood and Dan. If you haven't, check them out on all the socials. And they're playing at a lot of festivals, so go ahead and prop some festivals out because we're going to get this out.
Yeah, what's
and-
next for Dan Forsyth?
Yeah.
Well, with Driftwood?
Just with both, with you,
With both,
with Driftwood.
just- the whole realm.
I thought you
Yeah.
said of festivals. Yeah. So Dan Forsyth is just gonna put out a little bit of music.
All right.
And I have like one show at the farmers market, I think,
Okay.
in the fall. I'm excited to just release an album. But
great.
not really looking to play too many shows. But with Driftwood, we got like Borderland Festival coming up.
Saw
It's
that,
a
yeah.
biggie.
Yeah, that's a
Flaming
nice
Lips,
one.
and we had been trying to get into that
exciting.
for a long time. So yeah, that's cool.
Cool.
And then just like a lot of we'll be going down to Shikori Hills, the Grassroots Fest in North Carolina,
Mhm.
and a few other nice things in the fall.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks for listening. And I just want to close up with a few things. We have a YouTube. If you haven't checked it out, go to New Vine Records on YouTube. We have all of our podcasts there with video.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, that's where a lot of people have been checking us out. Is
Mostly.
YouTube.
Oh, sweet.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and if you're a Spotify listener, make sure go ahead and subscribe because it's helpful when you guys keep coming back. We have a lot of people who actually binge listen, and we love that. So
Nice.
send in emails if you're encouraged. We always love to hear from you. Also, if you're an Apple, iPod or podcast listener, subscribe on there as well. Share it with your friends. And lastly, if you love supporting music, New Vine is a 501c3. We formed 10 years ago to give new artists an opportunity to bring awareness, to bring music to venues, and to produce new artists that don't have the money or the time to put it aside. We help with that process. You can go to our website at newvinerecords.com and the donate button up there, and it's super helpful. Every dollar goes to the artist. Thanks for listening.